Hello students, I am Professor Dr. Adarsh Kumar. Today I bring you the last learning episode in BSc Forensic Science of an important unit of paper forensic medicine, that is unnatural sexual offences and sexual perversions. Let us begin this chapter with a quote: "We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back," as said by Malala Yousafzai, famous Pakistani human rights activist and herself victim of sexual offence. Now, we will try to understand unnatural sexual offences and sexual perversions in detail with the help of following modules. Module 1, we will cover sodomy. Module 2 will deal with the buccal coitus or the oral sex. Module 3 will cover lesbianism, tribadism or sapphism. Module 4 we will study bestiality, and module 5 will cover the all sexual perversions, also called as sexual deviations or the paraphilias, whereas module 6 will be the conclusion. Sodomy, also called as buggery or Greek love, is the anal intercourse between two men or between a man and a woman. This practice was prevalent in ancient Greek. It derives its name from the historical city of Sodom, where it was supposed to have been practiced. The main offender in sodomy is called the active agent, and the opposite partner is termed as the passive agent. If the passive agent is a child, the practice is known as pederasty, and the passive agent is called as catamite. If the passive agent is old person, then it is termed as gerontophilia. If we talk about the prevalence, it is more frequent among the people living in hostels, military barracks, prisoners and sailors who are isolated from women for long periods, and also commonly seen among poor socio-economic status. Coming on to the medico legal examination of an alleged victim of sodomy or buggery. We have to first do the preliminaries, where the preliminary examinations are almost same like any other medico legal examination. Preferably a written requisition from the magistrate or police should be taken before undertaking examination. Informed consent duly filled up in front of the witnesses is a must. General information are registered, that is name, age, sex, marital status, etc. Then detailed history is taken, general physical examination is done, gait is looked for whether painful or normal, clothing are examined for any damage, stains, pubic hair, etc. Then we come on to the local examination. Local examination is done in a knee elbow position, and following points are to be noted. Look for any pain or tenderness during the examination, presence of any smears of any lubricant or any loose foreign body, presence of perianal abrasion. The severity of the abrasion is dependent on the relative proportion between the size of the penis of the assailant and the anal sphincter of the victim. These are most marked in children. Presence of perianal bruising, extension of the injuries into the anal canal. Anal lacerations are usually triangular and based at the external sphincters, with the sides extending horizontally inward, but rarely more than 2 to 3 centimeters, since usually the penile penetrations are limited by the strong contraction of the sphincter and eye muscle. These lacerations usually result in bleeding onto the thigh and clothings. In case of presence of fresh or dried semen in and around the anus, it should be swabbed properly, packed, sealed, labelled and sent through the accompanying police officer to the forensic science laboratory for further serological and microscopic examination. In case of a victim not habitual to sodomy, a digital examination per annum is very painful. In case of a habitual victim, blood stains may not be visible. Loose foreign pubic hair or smears of lubricant etc. may not be visible. Usually the perianal hair is shaved off. During the examination, a habitual person does not feel any pain or tenderness during the examination, and the external sphincters are relaxed when bimanual traction is applied to the buttocks, that is called as lateral traction test. In a habitual person, the following findings are seen: funnel shaped depression of the buttocks towards the anus, the perianal skin is thickened and keratinized from constant friction, Anus is dilated and patulous with loss of rugosity of the mucous membrane. There may be presence of fresh or old fissures, that is called as tunneling, and lateral buttock traction test is positive. Rectum shows prolapsed mucosa which is thickened with disappearance of the radial folds. There may be the evidence of sexually transmitted diseases, and digital examination is relatively less painful. Coming on to the medico legal examination of the assailant or the accused. Examination of the active agent follows the same protocol as examination of the alleged rape accused, but in an alleged case of sodomy, the shaft of the penis may reveal traces of fecal matter or lubricant instead of vaginal epithelium. Buccal coitus is also called sin of Gomorrah, because as per history there is alleged prevalence of the practice in Gomorrah, the biblical twin city of Sodom. The term indicates penile or vaginal buccal sexual gratification and can thus be performed by both male and females. Fellatio is the term where buccal penile intercourse is called fellatio. The partner who performs the act is known as the fellator, and the one on whom it is performed is the fellatee. In cunnilingus, the buccal vaginal stimulation is referred to as cunnilingus. The only material evidence of commission of the offence would be the presence of spermatozoa in the buccal cavity or presence of fresh or dried saliva or buccal mucosal cells on the penis. This is the physical expression of female homosexuality. It typically involves mutual masturbation and occasionally active passive relationship by clitoral, digital, lingual or vaginal stimulation or the use of artificial phalluses. The term lesbianism and sapphism are derived from the island of Lesbos, which is in present Portugal, where the female population ruled by Queen Sopho indulged themselves in this act. An active lesbian who is most often a transvestite or transsexual is known as a butch or dyke, and the passive agent is called a femme. Lesbianism is extremely difficult to prove unless there are traces of fresh or dried saliva or buccal mucosal cells detected on or around the external genitalia, or injuries resulting from forcible introduction into the vagina by artificial phallus. The medico legal situation could arise when such a female does not take sexual interest in his husband and thereby fail in her duty to be a wife. The husband can seek divorce on this ground. Bestiality is the sexual intercourse with a lower animal. The animals usually selected are cows, mares, bitches, female, sheep, donkey or goat, and the large bird by males, and bulls, horse, dogs, male sheep, donkey or goats by females. It is characteristically the act of an isolated farm worker who are psychologically weak and is the object of ridicule by everyone or is timid enough to approach the opposite sex. He then overcomes the humiliation by having sexual intercourse with an available and usually compliant companion like a lower animal. Bestiality is also the product of superstition in many places in India, where the ignorant males firmly believes that having sexual intercourse with a female donkey cures gonorrhea. On examination, injuries inflicted by the animal will be seen over the offender. Very typically, hair, feathers or blood stains of the animal will be present in and around the genitalia and also on the clothing of the person. Human or seminal stains may be present in and around the genitalia of the animal. Number 1 is exhibitionism. Exhibitionism is type of sexual perversion where sexual gratification is obtained by exposing genitals to an unsuspecting stranger or in public place. Exhibitionism may or may not be associated with masturbatory acts. Males are the most common perpetrators and the victims are usually children or unsuspecting females or person of opposite sex. Exhibitionism is punishable under section 268, 290, 294 and 509 of Indian Penal Code. Second perversion is the fetishism or fetishism also. Fetishism is obtaining sexual gratification by using or thinking about an inanimate object or part of the body. The fetish or inanimate object is generally a piece of cloth, for example, underwear, suspenders, petticoat, stocking or even shoe or sandal of the opposite sex. Sometimes even silly things like garland or flower from the opposite sex or picture of the female is also suffice. Usually the fetish is stolen and the genitals are rubbed with it till ejaculation occurs. Even looking at the fetish may produce the same effects. This is almost exclusively seen in males. The fetishist may commit theft or robbery or woman may be attacked to get the fetish. And third perversion is the frotteurism. The French word is frotter, that means to rub. This is obtaining sexual gratification by rubbing one's genitalia against others in crowd and public places. These are often seen with other paraphilias like voyeurism, exhibitionism, etc. It is punishable under section 354 of Indian Penal Code, that is outraging the modesty of a woman, as well as all other Indian Penal Code sections as described earlier under exhibitionism. Fourth perversion is the sadism. Sadism is the type of sexual perversion where sexual gratification is achieved through inflicting pain on another person. The term sadism is derived from the French author Marcus de Sade, who wrote books on stories where the characters suffered the same fate. Sadism is also known as elgolagnia. The word arose from the Greek word, that is elgos stands for pain and lagnia is lust. These are more commonly seen in males and are often associated with masochism, and such conditions are termed as sadomasochism. Usually the sadists are sociopaths or with personality disorders. Method employed are usually beating, biting, burning the skin with cigarette, bondage, reducing cuts, whipping, etc. These are generally done with a consenting masochist, but if done forcefully, then the person may be charged with various sections under IPC like 323, 324, 325 and 326. Fifth condition of sexual perversion is masochism. This is also known as passive elgolagnia. This is sexual gratification through receiving pain upon self by another person, usually a partner of opposite sex. This disorder is named after an Austrian novelist, Leopold von Sacher-Masoch, who suffered from this perversion. The stimulant for his work was being whipped by his own wife. These are mostly found in females in all age groups and among all socioeconomic strata. The masochists get pleasure from being abused, beaten, tortured, dominated and humiliated by their sexual partners. A painful stimulus replaces the ordinary sexual stimulus. Both sadism and masochism are seen in combination and rarely seen in pure state. When seen in combination, it is termed as sadomasochism. Both are included under the broader entity and are referred to as BDSM, a compound acronym derived from the terms bondage and discipline, dominance and submission. Such activities are not a form of sexual abuse, though some activities may appear to be violent or coercive, but are conducted with consent of all the partners involved. Another example is the lust murder. Lust murder or erotophonophilia is homicide in which the offender gets sexual gratification by killing the partner. This is considered as extreme form of sadism. Most lust murders are males, but females are also known. It is manifested by murder during sexual intercourse, mutilation of the victim's sexual organs, cutting or stabbing of breasts, lower abdomen, insertion of objects in bodily orifices, masturbating over the dead body, etc., and also may be associated with necrophilia and necrophagia. This is most common among the serial killers who chose the victim with some specific trait. The offender may have periodic outbursts and his behavior may be normal in between the outbursts. Then another perversion is the voyeurism, also called as peeping Tom. The voyeurism refers to receiving sexual gratification by observing nude individuals without their knowledge. It is almost exclusively seen in males who seek out repetitive situations to observe unsuspecting females grooming themselves or taking bath or undressing or copulating. A male voyeur is also referred to as peeping Tom, named after the legend where Tom the tailor peeped and watched Lady Godiva during her naked ride on horseback and was struck blind. The voyeur may observe the subject from a distance or use objects like camera, mirrors, videos, etc. This behavior is widely spread and research shows almost 65% of the men are engaged in peeping. They do not come in conflict of law unless caught in action. This is punishable offence under section 354 C of IPC with imprisonment not less than 3 years, but may extend up to 7 years and with fine. The next category of sexual perversions is necrophilia and necrophagia. Necrophilia, the word again is a Greek word, the necros meaning corpse and philia means love, means intercourse with the dead body, and necrophagia, the phagos means to eat, that means eating the flesh of the dead body after sexual gratification. The synonym of the latter is anthropophagy. Usually seen in persons suffering from temporal lobe anomalies, head trauma during infancy, drugs and alcoholism, genetic, sexual abuse during childhood, supposed hostility towards female, etc. These people may have sadistic tendencies and may mutilate the corpse after intercourse. Foul smell of decomposition or the cold skin acts as a stimulant. This is punishable offence under section 297 of IPC for causing indignity to any human corpse and is punishable with 1 year imprisonment or fine or both. Very famous Nithari case is an example of necrophilia and necrophagia. The next sexual perversion is transvestism. Transvestism is sexual gratification from dressing in the clothes of opposite sex. There is often a desire to be identified with the opposite sex, also known as cross dressing or Eonism after French diplomat Chevalier d'Eon. It develops mostly in late adolescent and in males. These are generally associated with autoerotic asphyxia, bondage or sadomasochistic behavior. Then mesoxcopia, sexual gratification by observing sex performance of other couples. Pyromania, sexual stimulation by seeing flames or seeing destruction of a building. This is considered as a psychosexual disorder. Then triolism. Triolism is intercourse with more than one partner at the same time, either 2 female and 1 male or 2 males and 1 female. Another variation of it is when a person shares his wife or girlfriend with another and observes the act from a hidden place or from the front. The next sexual perversion is the uranism. Uranism is a type of sexual perversion where sexual gratification is achieved by fingering, fondling or licking the genitals of the partner. Then urolagnia. Urolagnia is a type of sexual perversion where sexual gratification is achieved by sight of urine or pupil urinating. Then masturbation, also known as onanism, ipsation or autoeroticism, where sexual gratification is achieved through deliberate self mutilation. Mild masturbatory exercises are common to both men and women and are of little importance. Techniques are largely manual by moving penis against a bed or other object. Hollow articles like bottles, test tube etc. are used sometimes. In females, fingers are used gently or rhythmically to stimulate the clitoris or labia minora. The genitalia may be rubbed against a pillow or bed. Females may use artificial penis size object to insert into the vagina. Masturbation is an offense only when practiced in public, for example, telephone booth or the public lavatories etc. Next group of sexual perversions is scatologia, associated with obscene telephone calls, that is called as telephone scatologia. When the telephone calls made by heterosexual males who call unknown females to carry out sexually provocative conversation. Then caprolalia, sexual gratification by using obscene language. Then caprolagnia, sexual gratification associated with sight or smell of fishes or defecation. Then pedophilia, that is child sexual abuse. Pedophilia is a psychosocial disorder in which an adult experiences sexual gratification from prepubescent children. Pedophile is generally used to describe those accused or convicted of sexual abuse of a minor. Mostly this order is seen in men and the common victims are young adolescent boys, though some women may also have such tendencies. Aggression and sadism are important components of pedophilia, which may be subconscious or controlled or open. Pedophile may take various ways for attaining sexual gratification, like direct sexual assault by touching the minor's genitalia or rape, including sodomy, commonly in young adolescent boys, and in such cases the passive agent is called catamite, or sexual penetration with an object. By sexual molestation, where an adult engages in non-penetrative activities like exposing the minor to pornography or showing sexual acts of others etc. Sexual exploitation by victimizing the minor for child prostitution or child trafficking. Sometimes the potential child sex offenders make their advances through online chat room to make more accepting offers. The effects of child sexual abuse are depression, post traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and loss of confidence and trust factor and transmission of venereal diseases. Unnatural sexual offences are sodomy, buccal coitus, bestiality and lesbianism. Also, sexual perversions namely pedophilia, exhibitionism, voyeurism, sadism, masochism, necrophilia and necrophagia etc. Sodomy is the anal intercourse between two men or between a man and a woman. The main offender in sodomy is called the active agent and the opposite partner is termed as the passive agent. If the passive agent is a child, the practice is known as pederasty and the passive agent is called as catamite, and if the passive agent is old person, then it is termed as gerontophilia. Anal lacerations are usually triangular and based at the external sphincters with the sides extending horizontally inward, but rarely more than 2 to 3 centimeters, since the penile penetrations are limited by the strong contractions of the sphincter and eye muscles. Buccal coitus or the oral sex, also called as sin of Gomorrah, indicates penile or vaginal buccal sexual gratification and can thus be performed by both male and females. Buccal penile intercourse is called fellatio, buccal vaginal stimulation is referred as cunnilingus. Lesbianism is achieving sexual gratification by two females by mutual masturbation and occasionally active passive relationship by clitoral, digital, lingual or vaginal stimulation or the use of artificial phalluses. Exhibitionism is type of sexual perversion where sexual gratification is obtained by exposing genitals to an unsuspecting stranger or in public place. It is punishable under section 268, 9 to 90 to 94 and section 509 of Indian Penal Code. Fracturism is obtaining sexual gratification by rubbing one's genitalia against others in crowd and public places. It is punishable under section 354 IPC. Voyeurism or the peeping Tom refers to receiving sexual gratification by observing nude individuals without their knowledge. This is punishable offence under section 354 CIPC with imprisonment not less than 3 years, but may extend up to 7 years and with fine. In sadism, sexual gratification is achieved through inflicting pain on another person. In masochism, sexual gratification is achieved through receiving pain upon self by another person, usually a partner of opposite sex. Both sadism and masochism are seen in combination and rarely seen in pure state. When seen in combination, it is termed as sadomasochism. Extreme degree of sadism may lead to lust murder, where offender gets sexual gratification by killing the partner. In masturbation, sexual gratification is achieved through deliberate self stimulation. Masturbation is an offence only when practiced in public, for example, telephone booth or public lavatories, etc. Pedophilia is a psychosocial disorder in which an adult experiences sexual gratification from prepubescent children. Pedophile is used to describe those accused or convicted of sexual abuse of a minor. Dear students, this is the end of our conclusion, in which we have recapitulated our chapter about unnatural sexual offences and sexual perversions. Also, we learnt detailed examination of alleged victim and accused in a case of sodomy. I hope you all have enjoyed this lecture and gained valuable knowledge. I hope you all have understood the underlying concept of this chapter. Do keep in mind what we discussed today. Make sure you revise the modules frequently so that you master the topic well and take up the exercises. Dear students, this is the end of our paper of forensic medicine. Hope you have enjoyed various chapters and may have learnt some new topics, although it is said a man never stops learning. I tried to give you a brief concept of forensic medicine in these learning episodes, since the subject is vast. So, I have covered here some of the important chapters which were necessary to understand the subject of forensic medicine at BSc level. If you want to learn more and enhance your knowledge, you may log on to our website www.cec.nic.in for MCQ, quizzes, LORs, etc. Thank you for your time today. Keep learning and goodbye.